Virgil van Dijk has directly addressed his Liverpool contract renewal amid speculation. Could Bruno Guimaraes be the biggest transfer in January? And much more in today's Football Fix. Daily videos, subscribe and leave a like if you enjoy. Today we start with the news that Paul Pogba has been urged to join Fulham as he prepares for a return to football due to the pressure not being as high there. He has been linked to a number of clubs all around Europe. He has also been linked to Saudi clubs, but a return to the Premier League would be his priority, and Fulham are emerging as a shock contender. Some Premier League injury news as Reece James is now not expected to play again for Chelsea before the end of 2024. This man cannot catch a break when it comes to injuries. It seems like he comes back after months out, plays maybe 5 games at most, and then gets injured again. It is horrific. Speaking of horrific injuries, Rodri is targeting a comeback this season, despite having previously been ruled out after doing his ACL until the start of next year due to his serious injury. This just shows the determination, but also potentially he can see how tragic this Man City team seem to be when he is not in the fold. He makes that team tick. And it's going to be interesting to see whether they try and replace him in January, or at least provide a backup for Pep. The latest FIFA World Rankings are out for international teams, and as you can see on the top 10 side of things, sure, maybe it makes sense after the Euros and the World Cup and things like that. In the 11th to 20th, though, some interesting teams. We've got Iran coming in at 18th right now, which I don't think anyone would really have predicted. So let me know your thoughts on this top 20 and whether you actually think that it's accurate or not. Big reports that Florian Wirtz favours a move to Bayern Munich if he is to leave Bayer Leverkusen. Once again, this would be Bayern Munich taking one of, if not the best talents in the Bundesliga, making them their own, and then proceeding to absolutely dominate the league. This news comes out amidst reports of Real Madrid and Manchester United having a very strong interest in Wirtz. Real Madrid in particular are linked to both Wirtz in combination with Xabi Alonso coming in the summer, which would be a ridiculous double deal for them. But Wirtz is going to cost whoever he moves to a lot of money. He is valued at 100 million euros plus. So whoever gets him, it's not going to be cheap. Enzo Maresca has denied reports about Christopher Nkunku. These have come out in the last couple of days that supposedly Nkunku is up for sale, and there are lots of clubs interested in either purchasing him or being able to loan him. However, Maresca has come in and said that the Chelsea striker will get more playing time next month. At the time of recording, he has been involved in goals today in the Conference League for Chelsea, and he is doing fantastically well whenever he does actually start games and get some minutes. Will we see rotation between Nkunku and Jackson due to the very, very dominated fixture list in terms of scheduling across the festive season? Maybe so, and it'll be really intriguing to see how he does alongside the likes of Felix, Palmer, Neto, Mudryk maybe, and Madueke. Bild are reporting that Liverpool have lined up Jeremy Frimpong if Trent is to leave the club this summer on a free, as he is heavily rumoured to be going to Real Madrid as a free agent. Jeremy Frimpong is the one that is supposedly lined up. He has, of course, been absolutely fantastic at Bayer Leverkusen, especially under Xabi Alonso. This system suits him and Grimaldo as the wing-backs amazingly. Interestingly, though, Trent hasn't actually been playing as far forward as we've seen him in the past, and so would Frimpong fit it perfectly, or would he be a little bit too more attacking-minded to actually come in to this Trent role? A huge proposal to ban state-controlled clubs from English football has been included in the Football Governance Bill. This is massive news, especially for a couple of clubs in the Premier League. If this is passed, Manchester City and Newcastle would need to change their ownership in order to obtain a license from the new independent regulator that is set to come in to make sure that every club and everything that happens within the Premier League is all as the rules state. Nobody is breaking anything or finding loopholes. Independent regulators are set to come in to stop clubs from abusing these kind of things. So could potentially be massive news, especially considering the 115 charges that Man City are already facing. Coventry City today confirmed that Frank Lampard has become their new head coach. There were reports of him wanting to wait for a Premier League job. However, he has managed to get himself a new job in the Championship. Is this Frank Lampard's level? We saw him perform really well with Derby previously. When he went to Chelsea initially, he did quite well, but then his second stint there was terrible. At Everton, he was not that impressive. So this gives him a second opportunity to potentially give a bit of a restart to his career before jumping back in at that top level back into the Premier League. FC Barcelona are planning on selling Frenkie de Jong in the summer of 2025, it has been reported by Sports today. Barcelona are not satisfied with his performances as of late, and the player reportedly earns around 19 million euros per year. Frenkie de Jong has been linked with many clubs over the last few years. There was an incredibly elongated transfer saga between him and Manchester United under Erik ten Hag. And even before that, Manchester United were linked. Many other clubs around Europe have also been wanting Frenkie de Jong's signature, but because of the wages that he is on at Barcelona, it is so hard to pry him away. He was previously seen as untouchable when it comes to transfers, but with some of the new players coming through at Barca, through La Masia, maybe Frenkie could be offloaded in order to allow some leeway when it comes to wages and transfer budget. On to the Bruno Guimaraes news, as Manchester City have previously held interest in Bruno G ever since his move to Newcastle, and some reports have come out saying that they were potentially a little bit too scared to bite the bullet to pay the money for him when he came into the Premier League in the first place. However, now he would be significantly more expensive, but supposedly Pep Guardiola wants Manchester City to sign Bruno G in January in aid of the injury that Rodri has. The midfield has been struggling. The return of Gundogan has not worked out that well. Matheus Nunes has been okay, but other poor performances from other midfielders mean they want to solidify that position in January to try and make it 5 Premier League titles in a row. Manchester United are reportedly ready to trigger Kvicha Kvaratskhelia 100 million euro release clause in the summer, and he is reportedly their top target. This would be a superstar level signing for the Premier League and for Ruben Amorim, who has got underway at Manchester United now. He's been in the job for a week or two and got some games under his belt. He is obviously going to be trying out different players in different positions, figuring out who in the squad is going to be kept a hold of, who is going to be sold, and Kvicha could be the guy that they bring in for this new super player that is the next era of Manchester United. Reports are coming out that Real Madrid are now readying Carlo Ancelotti's replacement, not immediately, but ready for the summer. Of course, Carlo Ancelotti is out of contract in the summer, which is why there have been so many rumours as to who is coming in. He is not under threat of losing his job at this moment in time, despite poor performances in the Champions League. Xabi Alonso is supposedly that main target and priority replacement for him in the summer. As we previously mentioned, the ideal scenario is that they bring in Xabi Alonso and Florian Wirtz at the same time as a monster replacement for Carlo Ancelotti. There are set to be Premier League protests this weekend against rising ticket prices in the Premier League, and so fans of multiple clubs are set to come together and join forces for this protest. The clubs that have been mentioned so far are Manchester United, Manchester City, Everton and Liverpool, and these are going to happen at Old Trafford and Anfield this weekend. So a massive story in terms of maybe fans finally fighting back against the Premier League. There has been the last couple of years just exponential rising in prices of tickets, and the average football fan is getting priced out of being able to support their own football club in favour of bringing in more money by selling tickets to tourists. Will this make any difference? The Premier League really don't have much precedent of listening to the fans, so we'll have to wait and see. And the final story today is that Virgil van Dijk is reportedly staying at Liverpool, and a contract extension is imminent, set to be announced within the next few days. This comes from Anfield Watch and multiple other reporters on X or Twitter that say that he is set to stay. There has obviously been many rumours with him, Trent and Salah as to whether they will stay at the club in the summer. Trent looks likely to leave. Salah just needs a new contract on the table, but Van Dijk is supposedly set to stay. He did address this directly in an interview without giving a full answer to the question. He isn't going to just straight up say, yes, I'm staying, or no, I'm leaving, because that's not how this works. He basically said that the question was very direct and then sort of skirted it really and decided to answer other questions. So we will most likely be seeing Virgil van Dijk staying at Liverpool. Maybe this has been changed slightly due to the success under Arne Slot, and some of these players that were maybe set to leave have seen how good he is. They've loved his management style, and maybe now they want to stay. So that is it for today's football news. I'll see you tomorrow.